Hey everyone, welcome to Fighting Over the Card Catalog, a snarky look back on young adult novels of the 80s and 90s. I'm Jess.
I'm Steven, and I'm here to make my wife happy.
We're taking a journey to find out how many terrible and hopefully some not so terrible books from my youth I can get my husband to read before he reconsiders this whole marriage. Hello.
Hey.
Hey. How are you today?
You know.
Okay, descriptive. Thank you.
Yeah, it was second Monday today.
Yeah.
But I'm home now, so
Yay.
it's better.
I almost started singing In the Heights at you. But I didn't. You're welcome, everyone. So this week we read Babysitter's Club number 13, Good-bye Stacey, Goodbye, by Anna Martin, published in 1989. Tell us about it.
There's a lot of exclamation points.
Oh boy, okay.
Oh no! Stacey McGill's moving back to New York! That means no more Stoneybrook Middle School, no more Charlotte Johansson, and worst of all, no more Babysitter's Club!
Oh no!
Stacey's friends are crushed when they hear that Stacey's moving. Claudia most of all. Stacey was her best friend.
She's not dead.
How will the BSC cope without Stacey? What kind of going away present is good enough for someone as special as she is? Most important, who is going to be the next member of the Babysitters Club?
So, on a scale of 1 being the best book ever to the Dementor's kiss of 10 sucking the soul out of your love of reading, what you got?
This was, I'd say, a solid 5.
Okay.
Right in the middle.
Not bad.
There. You know, just something I had to read.
Yeah.
That had people in it.
I gave it a 4.
Yeah.
Just because, I mean, it's a major plot point in the overall series. And I didn't think it was terrible. So a 4. I wouldn't skip it in a reread of the series, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, they could have cut about 30 pages out of it, and I might have given it a 4.
Really? Any particular ones?
Well, I mean, like the whole thing with Morbid Destiny, whatever her name is.
Morbid Destiny.
Could have just cut that whole section out.
Like babysitting chapters, like Dawn with the Barretts, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty pointless, honestly. Yeah, they both were. Yeah, they were fillers because there has to be 15 chapters in every book. And so there might be an official how many babysitting jobs there has to be part of the series.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. That's just a guess.
Maybe she has her own role where she has to get 2 or 3 different in every book.
Yeah.
Regardless of what else is going on.
Yeah. Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
So the girls sit around talking a bit after a meeting, but at 6:05, Stacey's mom calls telling her to come home immediately. And it's very weird. Stacey's like, I wouldn't even be home by now normally. Like, it takes more than 5 minutes. So she thinks somebody is hurt or dead. I mean, because, but then she gets home and her parents are all totes calm. And they just say, oh, they have some news. What the fuck, McGills? That's a bullshit move.
Couldn't have waited 10 minutes for it to get home.
Anyway, so I never understood why Anne would effectively get rid of the most popular character. Because she was. So anyways, she does, because Stacey is moving back to New York City.
So she actually has a little blurb at the back of the book.
Oh, yeah, because we've got the reprint edition.
And it says, after this book was first published, I received thousands of letters from readers wanting to know why I moved Stacey back to New York City. Stacey was and still is one of the most popular members of the Babysitters Club, and readers were disappointed that she had left. I never intended to write Stacey out of the series, and in fact planned to feature her in upcoming books, but readers wanted Stacey back.
Yep.
There's a little more. I'll read it at the end.
Okay. So they're moving because her dad's company is merging the Stamford and Boston branches. And that totally sounds like The Office stole that plot point.
Yeah.
Yeah. When that happened on The Office, I was like, babysitter.
So, yeah, I mean, I had to move a few times because my dad got transferred.
Mm-hmm.
And it was around their age, fairly similar. So, I mean, it is a big event that happens.
Yeah.
For you or for a friend, that somebody you've been best friends with for 5 or 6 years, and all of a sudden they have to move.
Yeah.
And it's completely out of your control.
Yeah. Yeah, I moved at the end of 6th grade, and that was like a whole huge deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. All those preteen hormones.
Yeah.
On top of it. Yeah.
I moved in the 4th grade, the 5th grade, the 6th grade, the 8th grade, 9th grade.
That's ridiculous.
And 10th grade. Yeah.
I mean, it sounds like your dad was in the military or something.
Yeah, really his were his stopped at the 5th grade. And the others were after he was separated and my mom trying to find a place to live that she could afford.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, it sounds like your mom was in the military.
And they got remarried and then divorced soon after.
Wow. Way to bring it down.
Yeah, I had moved, because like my first 10 years, I had moved once or right at 10 years. And then after that, it was like move after move after move. And by the time I was 30, I had counted it up and I had moved over 40 times.
That is buck wild.
By the time I was 30.
Yeah. Wow. Let's see.
And then
I mean, do you count moving different houses in the same area?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, then let me count.
So when I was in the military, I had to get a top secret clearance. And I had to have an interview, and they were like, "Why did your family move so much?"
Yeah.
And I said, "Well, it was mostly job related. I promise you, we weren't trying to run from people. We were trying to hide." But then we had to actually get addresses for every single place we had lived.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So,
oh my God.
My mom says she still has a Rolodex. Filled
of course
with,
she does.
Filled with information that she had to gather for me because she said, I never want to have to go through that. I never want to have to try to figure all that out again.
I bet. I could probably figure it out using Google Maps now, But yeah.
That'd be interesting to do put them all in as places and then like have a little map of, Yeah,
we should do that just for fun. I just counted. I only had 16.
16 total.
Yeah. Including different houses in the same. Yeah. You've moved more since then, though.
Yeah.
Since you're 30, like a whole bunch, huh?
A few more. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Since
That's
30.
Crazy.
Since 30, probably 9 times, I think.
Oh, okay. So we move one more. It'll be 10. Your 50th.
Well, I think I had over 40 before.
Oh,
30,
okay.
so.
Okay. Dang. Yeah. Wow. Okay. All right. Well, we're definitely going to have to ask if listeners have moved any more than that. 'Cause, I mean, to be fair, you're 47, so
Mm-hmm.
it's like almost once a year, though. That's a lot.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
It's not fun. I hate moving.
It
is like torture.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are a few things in this that I was thinking, things at that age didn't seem like such a pain in the ass, but boy, it sure does. Did you ever get to move, I know you did. You moved back to, Palestine. So you got to, go back to friends like Stacey does with Lane and stuff. Like, she kind of, she goes back to a life she's already known, at least.
Yeah, I was kind of, in an emotional state when I went back to my old school. I was very hormonal, had contemplated suicide multiple times. Mom going through a divorce. We had to move into this. It was like a trailer house. It was a 2-bedroom trailer house, and I had to share a room with Todd. Yeah, we didn't have air conditioning.
Oh no!
It was out in the middle of the country, and that was not a good situation.
No.
No money to buy new clothes. We were poor.
Yeah.
And then I went back to school, and I remember one of the teachers was like, "Oh, we have a new student today. It's Stephen Hollingsworth." And then I was going by Chris, and I had to tell her, "Oh, it's
yeah.
Oh no, somebody said, 'Oh no, that's Chris.' We know him. It's no big deal that he's back. It's just Chris."
Oh.
And that was made me a little sad.
Yeah.
And I know they were just being like,
they were showing the teacher.
He's just one of the guys, but
yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. And show the teacher up like, no, you're wrong. He's not new. We know him. We know more than you do.
And then when we finally got to move to a better apartment, it was still 2 bedrooms, still had to share a room, but it was much nicer. We had a washer and dryer.
Hell
that
yeah.
was very nice for teenagers.
Air conditioning.
Hell
yeah, you were living.
My mom had started working for the prison at that time, and she was working nights, and because she was not going to be able to drive me all the way to my regular school, I had to switch schools to Palestine.
Right.
And that was something else. That was an experience.
Yeah.
So my 9th grade year, I went to a completely new school and Todd had been going to Palestine for years by this point.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because we went to this kind of a rich church, and all of his friends were from that school, and he had issues with some of the guys from Westwood because Todd. And so anyway, he had his friends from church, and he's like, "I'm not going to that school anymore. I'm going to this school."
Yeah,
and
I can see that.
And so anyway, I started going to the school that he went to, and there was a guy that I started hanging around with who I had met at the other school before. And man, he got me into so much trouble.
All right. Yes, I've heard of him.
Yeah, so much trouble. And we were unsupervised because my mom worked nights.
Yeah, hell yeah.
So she was She slept while I was
Getting into trouble.
She basically slept while I was awake, and then she went to work at like 10 o'clock at night and got home at like 7, about the time I was getting ready for school. So, especially on weekends, but even on school nights, I'd be out till like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning.
Oh my God, as a 14-year-old.
Yeah. There were nights when we would come home. We know she'd get up at 10 because she had a routine. She'd get up at like 9:30, and, so I had to be home by that time and then act like I was in bed. And then as soon as she left, I could get up and go do something else.
Yeah. So disappointed in you. Not really.
But yeah, I don't know why we got off on that. But
because I was like, you get to go back to people you knew. Yeah.
There was a guy at that new school who had my same last name. And we were like telling each other people in our families to see if we could figure out how we were related.
Because he's Texas.
We knew nobody with the same last name. I had never met another person with my last name that I wasn't related to. So that was kind of weird.
Yeah. I still never have.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, because she's going back to New York, she calls Lane, her old bestie in New York, and they're all super excited,
Until.
Oh, one thing. Stacey tells her parents that she was looking forward to graduating with Claudia. But, at the end of that year. But really, you're going to have to wait about 12 years before they finally graduate in real time.
Oh, yeah, gotcha.
Because 8th grade repeats over and over and over again. But yeah, Stacey is mainly excited, really, while she's talking to her parents, because she misses a lot of stuff about New York. All the shopping and fun stuff and theater, and they're going to go to a Broadway show once a month. Bitches.
But then her friend reminded her of the girls that didn't like her.
Who turned on her once her diabetes started.
And called her puke face or puke mouth or something.
Yeah, it's pretty mean. But Lane doesn't seem worried about it for her, so it'll be all good, right? But what's not all good is when she has to call and tell Claudia. She even ends up going over to her house to talk about it, even though it's a school night. And Claudia's entire family answers the door, and it's pretty sweet. They're all worried, and even Janine is real sweet. And two of them go off and start talking, and Claudia pretty much has a breakdown. And she tells Stacey she's the only best friend she's ever had, and it's really sad, really. And for a minute, they have the idea of hey, Stacey could stay with the Kishis for the rest of the school year. But yeah, both sets of parents shoot that shit down pretty fast. I totally would have had that thought too.
Yeah.
Why not? There's room. Everybody likes me. Yeah. Oh, and apparently, speaking of room, the Kishis apparently have at least a 5-bedroom house.
Okay.
Because each of them has a room, and then there's a guest room.
Right. And they said there's a guest room. Right.
Yeah. That's really big for a suburban. I never pictured it. I pictured them all as it never says it, but I always picture it as split level houses, just, real normal 70s, 80s built suburb. That's big. Anyway. So then Stacey has to break it to the rest of the club, and it upsets everyone. And of course they have to face the problem of losing a member when they're already really busy because they're so successful. And after Stacey leaves, the other girls decide that they need to throw her a very special party. But they don't know how to make it special. And plus the girls are all broke. But I think maybe y'all should charge more than $1.50 an hour. Marianne goes to sit for Jeff, and he's still being a moody little jerk. But they have a talk, and Marianne learns that Jeff thinks his dad needs him. That it would be more fair if he moved back to California, because then it'd be the two of them and Dawn and her mom, or their mom. Marianne shares this with Dawn, and she's all worried because either way, someone's going to get hurt. Did you ever have that concern about your dad?
Not a bit. I was so happy. I mean, other than my mom crying all the time.
Right.
I was very happy when my dad left.
Mm-hmm.
And I probably mentioned it before. He's a much better guy now than he was then. But he was just,
yeah, because frankly, he comes off as a lovely man.
I just tried to do anything to avoid him. I mean, everything was always a disappointment with him. And if you weren't working every time he saw you, then you were just a waste of space, basically.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, there's yard to be mowed. Why are you bouncing a basketball? You know, it was constant.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good time.
I'm very glad he was not that way with my youngest brother, but I'm very jealous of that as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
I guess that would be envious. Yeah.
Right. So Stacey and her mom realize they're never going to be able to fit an entire house, possibly 5-bedroom house, worth of stuff into an apartment, even though the apartment's going to be bigger than what they had before. Also, I'm like, Stacey's mom, don't hesitate
Does she have it going on?
She's always got it going on. But don't hesitate to use more boxes for books, you idiot. I mean, that's like the biggest moving lesson of them all.
I thought 20 boxes were going to be enough. Did I tell you when I moved my mom about all the boxes, how we just had a path? I pre-moved all of her when we moved her to Tyler. We pre-moved
when you had to take like a whole bunch of trips.
Yeah, we pre-moved all of her books.
Good.
We basically filled. I don't know if you've seen the room right across from the bathroom at Aaron's house.
Wait, yes.
That room was completely filled.
Oh.
From the back wall all the way up to the front. You could open the door and it was boxes. Then we had in the living room, we had a whole bunch of boxes stacked there. And then we had a path that we could walk into the kitchen to get to the counters and then walk around to the bath. But it was all filled with books. Yeah. All boxes filled with books. They're there as well. Altogether, probably over 150 plus boxes of books. Yeah.
It did not occur to me that you had to move all that stuff to your house before then moving it to her new house.
Yeah, so we pre-moved those, knowing we were not going to be able to get all of her stuff in. I got the biggest U-Haul that they had. I borrowed a full-size steel frame trailer. And we completely filled the U-Haul, completely filled the trailer, filled my Suburban, filled my mom's truck, and still did not get everything. A single lady living in a 2,400 square foot home, four bedroom, and had a 30 by 20 storage building, and it was all full, completely filled with stuff just for her.
Your mom likes her stuff.
Well, I think again it's one of those things where you grow up really poor and then you start getting a little bit of money and then she just collected and collected and collected. Yeah.
Yeah.
And now her house is turning into that again.
Yes.
But she's only got 1,900 square feet with no storage building. Yeah.
But she laments that she can't put up like 8 Christmas trees anymore. Yeah, I think we're only that way about books. But yeah, we've collected a lot more since we've moved here. It's gonna be a lot.
It is.
But yeah, the lesson is, though, use a whole bunch of small boxes and don't be afraid to use a ton. Stacey's mom. Anyway. So Stacey comes up with the idea of letting the BSC hold a yard sale of all their stuff they're not going to be able to take. And her mom likes the idea so much that she says, of the girls doing it for her, that she says they can keep all the money they make.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
You don't?
I
Because,
feel like you can
man,
keep a portion of the money that you make.
I was
I
thinking,
mean, they had like a 6-month-old ping pong table.
yeah. But, I mean, I was thinking, like, back in the day, I thought yard sales would be so fun to, like, organize and put on. But now I'm thinking, God, what a fucking pain in the ass. I would absolutely let them keep all the money. I would have no problem.
Yeah, I can see that. Just not having to deal with it
Yeah.
at all. But yeah. Yeah, we had lots of garage sales.
Mm-hmm.
And as a kid I enjoyed them, but every garage sale I had as an adult was just
It's awful.
Yeah. It was a horrible
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah.
And then people are trying to haggle your stuff down.
Oh my God, no. I've never had one as an adult.
I always had a rule, I would have it like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or Saturday, Sunday. And so my rule was the first days everything was as priced.
Oh yeah.
It's just that was just the way. There was no haggling. But on Sunday, if it's still here, come back and make me an offer.
Yeah. That's why you should always definitely go to a garage sale, yard sale on the last day, whatever day they're having it. Yeah.
But
it's like a book sale.
Yeah, they always try to haggle everything.
Yeah.
The couch, you got it for $75. I'll give you $20 for it. So, no, if it's still here on Sunday, I'd take $20
well, at least you would
for
say
it.
that. Yeah. So after they hear this news, the other girls realize that that's where they'll come up for the money for the party, even though they still have no idea how to make it special. And this part bothered you because Stacey calls Claudia and Mimi's like, oh, she's over at Mary Ann's. So she calls over to Mary Ann's. Oh, and it turns out Christy's over there. Oh, and Dawn's coming over. So why don't you come over? And Stacey just goes over to tell them this news and then leaves. It was very weird. And you're like, why?
Well, it wasn't even that. She told them on the phone, Mom said we can have a garage sale and keep the money.
Yeah.
And then she rushes over there and basically says the same thing. And they're like, oh my gosh, really? And she's like, yes, I'm going to go home now and start getting it together.
Yeah, I know it's only a few blocks, and I get, when you're that age, you want to go hang out with your friends whenever, but she doesn't hang out. She just leaves.
I don't know. I don't know what Ann was thinking on that one.
Yeah.
She could have just said, I have some great news for you guys. I'll be right over. But no, she tells them on the phone and then she goes over there.
And then leaves right away.
And then right away leaves again.
Yeah. So Claudia has a sitting job at the Pikes. And they don't have to hire another sitter because Mallory has become so mature and level-headed, and Claudia really appreciates that. And she wonders if Mallory could fill Stacey's spot in the club, but then decides, nah, she's too young. She's 2 years younger than us. So this is the book where Jordan invents a secret agent game. Spying on their new neighbors, who, because they have a long last name and accents and like a Xerox machine, and I didn't look it up. Is a telex machine a fax machine?
Probably, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, so they must be spies because of all. And fortunately, it just sounds like they're French, so it's not like super racist. Problematic, because I mean, like, if they were of any Middle Eastern descent, it'd be like, oh geez, yeah, like nowadays they probably think they were terrorists or something. And so although it's a weird and a horrible invasion or inversion, as Mallory says, of privacy, I actually kind of appreciated that Jordan made it into like an actual like fleshed out game with like the badge levels and the different missions and stuff. I thought it was pretty cute. But speaking of the inversion, I highly doubt Claudia and not Mallory would know the word invasion as an invasion of privacy.
Right. Mallory
reads all the time, and Claudia can't spell like where.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, it's very bad when it shows her writing in the notebook. It is horrible.
Yeah. It's a special thing.
I'm like, this is not an 8th grader. This is like a fourth grader writing.
I mean, even still. I mean, I know it's probably just because, like we read a lot as kids. So I don't know what regular kids' spelling was like.
Yeah.
But I didn't make those mistakes in 4th grade. But I was also reading these books. So I knew better. I learned.
Yeah, I mean, she's got to be writing papers in school, and the teachers have to be like constantly correcting and stuff.
I mean,
so
maybe they did it first, but then they're like, oh, just fuck it. Oh, no, it's another Claudia paper. Fuck. We'll just give her a D and not even try. So the girls are working hard, I guess, on making flyers and pricing items for the yard sale. Stacey is so proud of the price tags her mom got for the sale. Like, she's like, oh, I've got something to show you. And the girls are like, oh, what? She goes, just wait until they go down to the basement. It's like a very big deal. Oh. Dawn says people in California don't have yard sales. Like, I have nothing to back this up, but I'm pretty sure that's wrong.
Maybe in the cities that wouldn't be very easy. I mean,
but I mean, they lived in like a suburb. I mean, it sounded very normal.
Huh.
Yeah. I forget exactly. Palo Alto, I think. Yeah, it's normal. So yeah, I don't think that's correct. Any listeners from California? I know we have some. Let us know. And Stacey thinks she can, because she doesn't have yard sales, which probably is true in New York City. Yeah. I imagine that would be difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah, she thinks she can sell a sweater for $40. $81.51 in today's money. She's like, it's only a year old. And they're like, nah, bitch. And so she feels pretty sad. They sell it for $3.50. Hey, that's still more than you make an hour babysitting. So, okay, here's your favorite part. So Christy's sitting for her family, and the Delaney and Papadakis kids come over too. So that's 7 kids. I hate that. I don't understand why you always need 2 sitters for 7 kids over at the Pikes if Mallory's the second sitter.
Yeah.
But just random kids come over and it's fine. I mean, I know you can't plan that, but I would say, as a parent, nobody else is allowed to come over while you're sitting. I mean, it's not responsible.
Or each one of you can have one kid over, even, but yeah, that's too many. Because she was babysitting just 2 kids, right?
3. Karen, Andrew, and Dave and Michael.
Oh, Dave. Okay, yeah. Right.
Yeah.
But there were 7 kids there.
There ended up being 7 kids. Yeah. That's a lot. And they're like, what, 4 to 8 years old or something? Mm-hmm. Maybe 10. Maybe Amanda's older. But anyways. So Karen, of course, starts in on a morbid of destiny story saying that, she saw her gathering herbs that must be for poison. Potions. And on the talk of that, makes the other kids thirsty. And so they want to make lemonade, but they don't have the ingredients. But then all of a sudden, Morbid of Destiny is like right there and heard all this, which is actually pretty creepy. Saying she has the ingredients, just give her 5 minutes. She'll get things ready to teach them how to do it. And she also says, please, I hardly ever have guests. And it's like, okay, well, now it's just fucking sad. And so Christy's like, yeah, that's fucking sad. And so even though the kids don't want to, Christy, she essentially fucking guilt trips the Delaney kids into going. They're like, we don't have to go. This, you're not our boss. Sister. You're not
the
our
boss of us.
Yeah, we can go. But she fucking guilt trips them. She's like, oh, So everyone else is going to think you're a scaredy cat.
Yeah.
So like, what are you?
If you're
That's
too
not
scared.
the best way to handle that, but okay. So they go over and the lemonade is good. And you can tell Morbid had totally heard this whole conversation before because she totally fucks with Karen, which is great. She talks about how she just, brewed this up. And she glances over at her broom and has a black cat sitting in her lap. And she's basically cackling, not just normal laughing. And it's pretty dope. Then when they go to the bathroom, all the kids have to go because they don't want to be alone with her. Christy sees 2 cans of frozen lemonade on the counter. Oh, poor Mrs. Porter. So if Stacey thought Claudia's reaction was bad, she was not prepared for poor Charlotte's reaction to the news that she's moving. First, she gets super pissed and says she hates Stacey. But, she's just covering up her being sad. And then she just cries a lot. Stacey takes her over to her house to see the progress being made and to, show her, it's a progress thing and, not just here today, gone tomorrow, as she says. That was pretty smart. And she gives her a book they read together to remember her by. Hey, kids! Do you love fighting over the card catalog?
Totally!
Now you can find your favorite podcast all over the World Wide Web. Look for us on Facebook, Instagram, Tumblr, YouTube, and Pinterest at Fighting Over the Card Catalog, or on Twitter at Card Catalog Pod. And as a special bonus, head over to our very own website, fightingoverthecardcatalog.com. And now, you can get the inside scoop on co-host Jess on Instagram and Twitter at Jess Digress.
Whoa!
Next, you can become a junior cataloger just by sharing us with your friends and rating and subscribing on Apple Podcasts.
Whoa!
Available wherever podcasts are sold. Podcasts not actually sold, but available in all podcatchers for free. Junior catalogers under the age of 18, ask your parent or guardian's permission before downloading. Okay. Dawn sits for the Barretts, and Buddy had seen yard sale signs for Stacey's and gets the idea to have one themselves. Sell stuff that they had to clean their room of. And Mrs. Barrett decided that was all right with her, but asked the kids if they could wait until Thursday afternoon to hold their sale.
When she wasn't going to be there.
That was when Mrs. Barrett would be at work. It was also the day Dawn would be babysitting. At least after she sprang this surprise project on Dawn, she told her she'd pay her 50 cents per hour extra for her trouble. And these kids had gotten nothing ready. They didn't have anything priced. They didn't do any advertising. Mrs. Barrett said, it's basically just fuck this. I'm not helping at all. So, it ends up being a spectacular failure. But it gives Dawn the idea of how to make the party special, invite all the babysitting charges, and this ends up setting the precedent for all Babysitters Club parties from here on out. I don't think they ever have another party without all the sitting charges being invited. Yeah. And also she's like, hey, why don't we let the Barrett kids sell their stuff at the big yard sale? Which is a great idea. And the whole yard sale ends up doing really well. They make a ton of money, and random ass people come up and ask how much are the shutters on the house? And how much are the folding tables that various families had let them borrow? And Mr. Perkins gets really excited about a piece of rope. They sell it to him. Charlotte comes over real late saying, she really didn't want to see everything going and everything. And she gives Stacey a book she made called The Girl Who Moved Away. It's very sweet. Oh, during the sale, or actually 10 minutes before the sale, Mrs. Prezioso and her bratty daughter Jenny showed up. I hate the hate on Jenny. I will never get over it. So the party also turns out to be a success, with 28 freaking kids. Then they play a bunch of kids' games and whatever. It's not my kind of party. But Stacey is very touched and has fun, and she's especially touched when they all give her homemade cards. So Stacey attends her very last Babysitters Club meeting. But guess what? We finally get a fashion alert. Claudia is wearing a purple and white striped bodysuit under a gray jumper thing. The legs of the bodysuit stretched out all the way to her ankles, but she was wearing purple push-down socks anyway. Well, yeah, because it looks fucking dope. Around her middle was a wide purple belt with a buckle in the shape of a telephone. And on her feet were black belly slippers. Dawn was wearing a very short kilt, an oversized red sweater, and yellow socks over red tights. On her head was a red beret with a sparkly initial pin attached to the side. That actually sounds really cute. Marianne was wearing an outfit that was tame, but not dorky. Navy blue mini dress with a pink sash, blue tights, and black slippers like Claudia's. Pretty tame. So they have this whole big official ceremony to make Dawn the treasurer, and Stacey's like, Christy's just doing this.
Totally don't run this like a real club, because it's just Claudia saying, this is what I'm saying. I mean, not Claudia. It's Christy saying,
yeah,
this is what's happening. I now officially do this.
Yeah, she's the worst. And Stacey says,
there's no club vote. There's nothing.
No, Christy's just doing this to show off. And yeah, she's totally right. Marianne pretty much cries the whole time, of course. And Claudia brings up maybe asking Mallory to join. But they know she'd only be able to ever sit afternoons and weekends. So they're like, well, maybe she could be a junior sitter. It would, free us up for evening jobs and not having to because I don't think they're allowed to do 2 jobs in one day. And yeah, Stacey starts to reach for the phone to ask her, and Christy's like, I should do it because I'm the president. And Stacey's like, well, I'm the one who's leaving, and it's my spot she's taking, essentially. And she's totally right. So Stacey gets to call her to see if she'd be interested, and she totes is, of course. So moving day comes, and her empty room really makes Stacey sad. But the other girls show up bearing a bed sheet that says, see you soon, Stacey. And they give it to her to keep. Is she really going to hang that up in her new apartment?
Well, I mean, she might use it on her bed.
I guess. But I mean, they painted that on there. That's rough and whatever. Her mom and dad printed up these business cards for her that say, need a sitter, call Stacey McGill, and he gives her address. Oh, I should look that up. And phone number saying the New York branch of the Babysitters Club. She says, I realized I hadn't given you my new address or phone number. Now you've got everything. Plus, see, I'm not going to forget the Babysitters Club. In fact, it's going to grow.
Now, did she pay a franchising fee for that?
Right.
Is she going to have to pay?
Chrissy could make her,
is she going to have to pay part of her dues back to the home office?
She has to mail a quarter every week. Even though I don't know how much were stamps then. At least 25 cents, right?
25 cents.
Yeah. Then it's time to go. And Stacey hugs everybody. And Claudia gives Stacey an envelope to open in the car. It's a 13-page long letter. But yeah, it's totally believable. I remember on my last day of 6th grade, we got these little, like, not nice yearbooks, but they were like, paper with the glossy cover and stuff. And my best friend there, she wrote, like, we were watching movies the last day. I think we watched Cool Runnings. Anyway, she wrote the entire time, like, on the inside covers and on the outside covers, and it was very sweet. I wish I still had that. But she could spell. Could you imagine having to read 13 pages? Oh, Claudia's atrocious spelling. Anyways, but she's her bestie, so Stacey does it and loves it. And Claudia says Stacey will always be her best friend. And in her head, Stacey says Claudia will always be her best friend. And I'm like, take that, Lane. So that's the end. What you got?
So the last part of that letter from Anne was, I decided that Stacey would return to New York because it seemed natural that among any group of friends, one might eventually move away. I get lots of letters from kids telling me how difficult it is when a friend moves, or asking me for a story about a friend who moves. Also, I thought it would be fun to write about Stacey's very different life in New York, her friends, her school, her babysitting charges, and you'll have a chance to read about them in BSC number 18, Stacey's Mistake.
Hell yeah.
And then it has Stacey's scrapbook, and it has pictures of here I am, age 3. Next one's me with Charlotte Johansson, my almost sister. Next one's getting ready for school. Next one's a family portrait, me with my family. And the next one's in love at Shadow Lake. Oh,
that's super special, number 8. That's a long way from now. But yeah, the reprints were cool because they had all that extra shit in it. Oh, those illustrations are the ones her dad does, by the way. A little bit better.
Yeah, because there was there was an illustration where they were at the party and they were drawing on the neighborhood on a big piece of paper for her. And I figured that was probably one she did herself.
Oh, see, I didn't have that in the ebook, but yeah. But, I mean, to be fair, the level of her drawing is about as the kids. So, yeah, I thought that was a really cute idea. They had a big old piece of butcher paper and had all the kids draw Stacey a map of Stoneybrook with their own houses and all sorts of shit. And I thought that was really cute. But again, another big ass thing that they give her to hang up in her very small apartment. But okay. It was sweet. Sweeter than the painted bed sheet. But they're not holding it. But yeah, they have this sheet. It looks somewhere like a banner.
Yeah, it looks like a banner, not a sheet.
Yeah.
And she's driving off with it attached to that. Totally does not make sense. Anyway.
Okay. Right. I remembered this month to read the next chapter of Anne's biography. This one is entitled Adventures in Babysitting. And so we get like a lot of the basis for the Babysitters Club books, especially the whole mother's helper thing, because that's what her first jobs were with the Rice family. And like she would like watch the kids while the mom was there, doing, while she was busy with stuff, and then helping with chores. And she even went to Virginia Beach with them, calling up like Sea City vacations and stuff. My favorite line was, Anne wasn't a good babysitter. She was a fantastic one. Like, okay. Her favorite charge was the daughter, the youngest of that family, named Molly. And they sound really close, like Charlotte and Stacey were. Like, she wrote to her every week while she was at college and invited Molly to her graduation. And she got to stay in her dorm room, which sounds super cool for a kid. And there are also 2 boys in the family, Bo and Carl. Once Bo pulled some flowers that were apparently very, very special to Anna and her sister. And they totes guilt tripped him by having a funeral for the flowers.
Huh.
But, it taught him a good lesson that you can hurt people by ruining things that mean something to them. And Carl sounds like the basis for Jackie Radowski. Like, he vacuumed up his own socks and shit like that, which Jackie does at some point. And we end on kind of a bummer with Anne saying that, like, all she ever wanted to do was work with kids. They were her passion. And so far as I know, like, she never did as, like, an actual job. I guess writing for kids counts. But, yeah, it was pretty sad. So that's pretty much that. So what was your favorite part of the book? When it ended.
Yeah, I'm just staring at you.
I know. Nothing?
The part where she's driving away in the car.
Oh my God. I did mean to ask you. Even though, well, you knew that there would be more of her, but were you happy she's gone? Because I know Christy's your least favorite.
Yeah, I didn't really.
You don't love Stacey.
Well, I mean,
or has she grown on you a bit?
No, I'm okay with Stacey. Yeah, well, for the most part, I don't have issues with Stacey.
That's good. My favorite bit was Stacey and Charlotte's whole relationship. I thought it was sweet, both of them being older. I mean, only kids. And, I've had that kind of close relationship with kids that age. And it's awesome. Unfortunately, one of those kids became my goddaughter, and I get to see her all the time as a 21-year-old. Sorry, Rachel. So yeah, hopefully they'll still be friends later, and she now would get to go drinking with Charlotte, and it'd be hella cool. Least favorite? The beginning.
There was a lot of words in between.
Between the beginning and the end.
I think one of my least favorite things is about how they write in the book at the beginning of a chapter before they tell you the story. They'll have you read like what the notebook says, and it sounds like it's going to be a really big deal. Something just out of this, really crazy happens or something. And no, it's just a very tame story about.
But I mean,
what happens.
They're 13-year-old girls. So much is a big deal. Even though, I mean, please remember, Stacey thought the price tag stickers were a very huge, big surprise. So, yeah. My least favorite was, as I mentioned before, the precedent being set of kids being at every party.
Yeah, okay.
Oh my God, it's so bad. Anyway, what did we learn today?
That if you are a teenage babysitter, you have no private parties.
True. Ever. I learned that if you turn your daughter over to a cult, you can get out of doing monotonous jobs yourself.
What? To a cult?
The Babysitters Club is a cult.
Oh, okay. All right.
They are. Christy is absolutely a cult leader.
Yeah.
And they have like no autonomy, basically. Yeah. Maybe it's not as bad at this point. But I think it starts being a couple of books back.
So I'd say my for real one is probably that moving can have a lot of conflicting emotions.
Right.
You can be excited about something new and at the same time very sad about leaving what you do know and the things that you know are good.
Oh, that was really good. Okay, no Snark Zone. I don't have an actual call to action for anybody to do, or a particular one. But hey, let's all do what we can to end caucuses in America. Because goddamn, they're bullshit. We're recording this on Tuesday, February 4th, the day after the Iowa caucuses. And even before the whole clusterfuck of what happened with trying to report with this app that we still don't know at this
Elizabeth
point.
lost one caucus on a coin toss.
Right, I saw they were doing that. Yeah. Caucuses are stupid, and I know I mentioned that before. But like what they do is they put everybody in a gym in every like precinct, I think. Yeah. And like there are signs for each candidate, and you go to wherever that sign is for your chosen candidate. And then they have to, there's a certain like majority that you have to hit for each candidate to be viable. And if you don't have that, the other candidates' people try to convince you to come over to them. This is the official way of doing this in an entire state, in a few entire states. Nevada, by the way, the next one, also had an app, but they're like, oh, this shit has happened. We're going to do this new one. They said that today. It's like in a couple of weeks.
Wow.
If not next week. I don't know. Anyway. But yeah, so this disproportionately hurts like people who work at night or single parents. Although Warren was having childcare at places, so because she knows. But you know, the big one I've been seeing and understanding is disabled people.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't have chairs. You don't have water. Although I saw a picture, somebody snuck in a bottle of wine at one place and dropped it.
No.
So the picture was just shattered. Bottle of wine. Everybody's like, amateurs should have brought in a box or a can of soda. And then people were like, you know, that's not a Warren person. They would have had a plan. Like, goddamn right. But anyways,
yeah, our whole voting system is not very good.
Oh yeah, the whole system.
You know, we have a party whose whole plan for the future is to reduce the amount of people who can vote in order for them to keep majorities in specific areas.
Oh, my favorite tweet I saw today is like, it was like, oh, suddenly it's a big deal when it's white votes that didn't count, huh?
Right.
And I was like, oh, dag, for real.
So what's happened is that when people are mayors or governors in areas that they know has people from the opposite party voting there, they do things like reduce the number of places where you can vote so that there's a larger line. They also will send the oldest machines to those precincts so that if they break down, then there's no official ballot. All you can do is get a provisional ballot.
Which are very easy to throw out. And
again, it takes a long time to do, so the lines are very, very long. And they try to get it where people get so frustrated that they either leave. I mean, literally, people in the last election, the last big election, were having to wait in line for like 4+ hours and still not getting to vote. And then in some places they would have to wait that long. And then they would get up there and then they would find out that their name had been purged from the voting list just because they had not voted in the previous election.
Which is another reason to please go to vote411.org and make sure you have not been purged.
Yesterday was the last day for Texas. So Here, a
Oh,
little
yeah,
late,
you're right.
But
there are other states after
please
Super
do.
Tuesday. Yeah.
And man, I wish there was something we could do about it. I mean, our government wouldn't even give additional funding to make our elections safe from hacking by foreign agents.
Right.
I mean, it's really bad. It's not good.
So here is another. Here's a. It doesn't have to do with caucus. But as to the voting stuff, go to fairfight.com. And learn how Stacey Abrams, who ran for governor in Georgia last year and was totally fucked over by all the rolls being purged and stuff.
The guy she was running against was literally in charge of all of the voting for the state.
Yeah, it was the most fucked up. The most.
And he purged people from the list that he knew would be voting for her.
Mainly people of color, of
and
course.
made just like I was saying, made it harder for people in specific precincts to vote. And she still almost beat him.
Yeah. So, yeah. But so what she's been doing in that time has been working for free and fair elections. So, yeah, go to fairfight.com and see what you can do to help that. You can donate and shit. And also, we would not be mad if she were chosen as Warren's VP if they do that. Although she's probably going to choose Castro. But anyway, again, sorry this is so U.S. centric. I know we have listeners from other countries. I'm
sure other countries are interested in a different perspective, but
yeah. And we all know the UK is just as fucked. I hope y'all had a good Brexit day. Just kidding. Anyway, everything's terrible. Except for whatever we're reading right now. What are you reading?
I just finished today, actually, The Revenant, which was the Star Wars book 1 of the, what series is that? The Old Republic. Star Wars, The Old Republic. It was okay.
Oh.
I think the later books are better, but, yep. And then
if you had read it first, would you have continued with the series?
I may not have.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. Then Nemesis Games. I think I said I had started that one. I don't know if I'd finished that one.
I forget.
Anyway, that was the Expanse number 5. Really good. And I've got the number 6 for that, so that's what I'll be starting next.
Right.
And I forgot the name of it. Something's Ashes.
Something Ashes.
Which reminds me I need to start downloading.
Okay, so I finished the Vanishing Stare, and also then finally got to number 3 in the Truly Devious series, The Hand on the Wall, and yeah, finished that in 2 days. And yeah,
so good, was it?
It was so great. It was really fantastic, the whole series, even though I guess the modern day killer in the first book, and I had kind of an idea on the killer from the 30s too, but I didn't know for sure. But yeah, and I mean, I didn't know for sure, of course, on the modern one until book 3. But yeah, they're excellent. I will always recommend Maureen Johnson. I am currently reading, just started, The Last Year of the War by Susan Meisner. It's about these 2 teenage girls in 1943 who are sent to an internment camp in Texas because the narrator's father, well, her parents are from Germany and they think he's a Nazi sympathizer, even though he's not. And the other girl is parents are Japanese. Both girls born in America, but hey, who cares, right? And so, yeah, they meet and they're there for a year together. And until they're both, this is not a spoiler, it says right up at the front, until they're both repatriated and sent back to Germany and Japan. Yeah. even though neither of them have ever been to their countries.
Like what's happening now.
Exactly. Yep, it's totally a dreamer sort of situation. So yeah, I'm pretty excited to read the whole thing. It has 4.15 stars on Goodreads. So yeah, it sounds good. And I totally, of course, looked up, as I do with any historical fiction, pretty much I had to look up and make sure it was like a real place. Yeah, this camp was real in Crystal City, Texas, not Crystal Beach, which I had heard of, but Crystal City is pretty close to the border, ironically. It's kind of near Laredo, a bit northwest of it. And yeah, it's exactly what it was. It was a family, it's got a better name, a nicer whitewashed name, like a family resettlement camp or something. And yeah, there are a whole bunch of mainly Japanese, a lot of Germans, and a few Italians too. And it was open until like 1948. But yeah, that's what they did. They repatriated a lot of people from there. Anyway, so real cheery. So our next book, the episode comes out on Valentine's Day. We're not going to be real sweet about it. We're going to read a Fear Street book. Super chiller. Called Broken Hearts. All right. Thanks so much for listening. We're rereading the books of your childhood.
So you don't have to.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.